In second grade elementary school, we had a project based on being able to write an essay, our first essay ever written, about creating our own sandwich. Now, we would put our own ingredients using conjectures, things that were relatively new to us to be able to create a sandwich that we would like to eat. Visiting a garden, everyone had to pick their own ingredients. But because I was really picky, my essay didn't really have a lot of ingredients, while other people had very abundance of ingredients and condiments. So when we did get to pick up our vegetables and ingredients when we were at the garden and bins, I was really jealous of other kids because they got to pick a lot of food. Meanwhile, because I was picky, I didn't really get to pick up a lot of food. And due to this little kid jealousy, I asked for other people's foods and their scraps. And of course, people don't really like sharing food. I mean, we're kids at this point, so no one really shared food with me. And I wouldn't really say anything, but a lot of the food ended up going into scrap bins, which could have been used, for me, even though I said I didn't like tomatoes, I still wanted people's tomatoes. But to turn the perspective a little bit, this phenomenon isn't really happening with only little kids, as adults now don't really want to share their food with other people. As we grow more independent in the American society, the economic scale gets to become a bigger and bigger gap, making it more community for food waste between middle and upper class individuals. And that's a lot of food being wasted. Sharing food seems just like a wrong thing to do, but why is that? Other than the culture, which I'll talk about in a minute, laws make it really hard for specifically big corporations and businesses to be able to share food and be able to use the food that they weren't able to sell to other people because of contamination, allergy, and generally a lot of these issues that remain in the law make it so that even sharing food can get their companies sued, which prevents them from being able to share that food and that thus just wasting pounds and pounds of food that could be given to people. But also, especially in American culture, there's a negative about sharing food with other people. Even I will admit, I don't really feel comfortable, especially if I don't know the person, to be able to get food that they had in their house. But just because it was in their house, the food isn't dirty, right? It's important to identify when you are wasting food and altogether be able to prevent that. Because you should be monitoring how much you buy to what you'll be using, and also just basic shopping practices to make sure that food is being savored and not wasted. And in situations where you do have excess food to get rid of, there's local community markets that you're able to trade items that you don't really need, or you can just donate it. So either you can get something in return, or you can just donate food that you don't really use anymore. And maybe give a little tomato to a stuck-up little kid who said she didn't want any.